There was no countdown. I thought there was
Oops.
going to be a countdown. Oops. Forgot.
And we're live.
And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody. Didn't see you there. We're just chilling here backstage. Listen to this wonderful piano music brought to you by whoever made that. Did our mutual friend create that intro song for us?
Yes, there's only one color involved.
Excellent. There is only one color. The Green Observer made that intro music for us. For the folks at home who are watching this, the Green Observer is our good friend, and he will remain anonymous. But he's a cool cat, and he made us that sweet intro music. Sam, good to see you, bro.
Will,
It's been a while since we've streamed, right?
it's been a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly one long time.
Yep. One long time. That's the unit. That is the unit. So what are we covering today? For the folks at home who have never seen us before, or who don't know what we are, or who don't know what we're doing, what are we doing, and why are we here?
That's a great question. Well, we are actually the brothers, two of them. There are two brothers. Actually, there are more, but we are two of them.
We are too.
And so we are going to be using this platform to do some discussion of this book, The Holy Grit, not to be confused by the other one. Sounds very similar. Holy shit. We'll do that one
Holy
next.
shit! Oh, is that a
So
book?
this one's written by Paul George.
Hang on, I'm looking that up right now. Keep talking.
The other one was written by Harry Butts.
Jesus Christ.
A Saintly Guide to Becoming a Man of Virtue. We're going into chapter 2 in this book, Holy Grit. We're going to learn to see if we can become men of virtue today. With the second chapter, we weren't super impressed with the first chapter. Maybe we'll get some out of the second chapter. Maybe not. Maybe we'll scrap the whole idea if the first two chapters are junk. But hey, we'll find out today. Oh,
Yes,
so we got Mr. Dace Northall.
Yes, my good friend Dace from the DGen Roundtable. Dace, I'm glad to see you in a live chatting on one of the podcasts. This is excellent. Welcome, Dace. Glad that you're here. Blah. If I could talk, holy smokes! Good to see you, bro. Hell yeah. I'm gonna pull up the YouTube because I can't see or no, I can just switch over to the chats. There we go. Excellent. Well, sweet. Hell yeah.
Excellent work. So, Will, what is your overall impression, first of all, of chapter 2?
Of chapter 2, well, I
Yep.
got something that I think I think this might be a curveball for you, but I'm not positive. Um, I think that the whole chapter 2 is about money, muscles, game, frame. That's what I think. So for the
You know
folks at
what?
home, who have not read this book, I'm going to do a brief synopsis on this book and what it is. All right. So Holy Grit is a saintly guide to becoming a man of virtue, right? In Holy Grit, you'll join Catholic life coach Paul George to consider some of the tough issues facing men today. Struggles in marriage, parenting, suffering, and finding purpose to determine ways that you can grow and take steps towards living the life for which God created for you. Holy Grit is rich in personal stories, thought provoking questions, spiritual insights, and mental health tips that'll help Catholic men like you build the spiritual foundation you need to serve your family, parish, and community. Right now, the first chapter of this book talks about Joseph, the husband of Mary, father or stepfather or earthly father of our Lord and
Cuckold.
Savior Jesus. Yeah, well, we could say cuckold. Yes, I guess for all intents and purposes, he was the holiest of cuckolds. Man, that's a strange framing. That's interesting. I had not thought to say that out loud, but somebody had to, I guess. And then the second chapter is about Saint Augustine, who was, I believe, he wasn't an emperor of Rome. I don't know much about him, but it basically talks about like how he used to be a total degenerate, like doing the thing that young men normally do, running around getting testosterone. And then his mother prayed for him a bunch, and his father died and converted to Catholicism. And then he switched his ways and lived happily ever after and stuff, and was a good Catholic boy. But like the theme of chapter 2 is basically like it like the thing that I got out of chapter 2 is he's basically talking about the common trope in the manosphere of money, muscles, game, and frame, right? Except he talks about them from like a bad spin. So he starts off they actually have the four B's, um is the way that he describes it He calls it the ball field, the billfold, the bedroom, and the boardroom. Man, that is some terrible branding. That is not sticky at all, and it just like it feels weird coming out of my mouth saying those things. Like money muscles game frame. That's nice and easy, rolls off the tongue, really gets the ideas. But this has just got way too many syllables and just starts with way too many B's. But anyways, the ball field, the billfold, the bedroom, and the boardroom. God, fuck, that's terrible branding. All right, so hey, Paul, if you're watching this podcast, Paul, and the opinions of two random assholes that happen to be brothers down in Texas who are reading your book and analyzing it, I would suggest that next time you're writing some sort of sticky catchphrase that you, I don't know, shorten up the syllables or something. But anyways, it's terrible. So the ball field, the billfold, the bedroom, and the boardroom. So that's money muscles game frame. So the billfold is money, the ball field is muscles, the bedroom is game, and then the boardroom is frame. Is essentially how I see it. He talks about like how people like basically get lost in competition and competing with other men, making too much money, having sex and getting laid, and then uh, like trying to command more like presence in the professional workforce. And I just thought it was very interesting that he puts like a negative connotation on all these things when in reality, like I think that that's a great big plague that is like more or less making young men not want to be a part of the religious like communities and stuff. Is it's basically like it's giving folks a whole bunch of information that does not lead, like if I go out and I tell young men level up money muscles game and frame, right, then they're going to be able to better, like they're going to become more attractive to women, and more chicks are going to want to hang out with them, and yada yada yada, and their lives will improve. Whereas this guy says like, hey, if you focus on these things, then you're a bad Christian person, essentially, right? That's what it more or less amounts to. And it's just like I think that that's one of the problems that the church has a lot is they're sending out this message to young men that essentially says like, hey, you need to not focus on these things and focus on God stuff. And it's like, well, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like focusing on God stuff is great, but like you also live in the real world, and if you likely have goals to start a family and change the world to be a better place, then you need like leverage in order to do those things. And in order to gain leverage, you have to like earn it and stuff. And the way that you earn leverage is by leveling yourself up in these realms of money, muscles, game, frame, which essentially just allow you to accomplish goals in life. So that was the big takeaway that I got from this chapter thing. So I don't know if that has totally thrown off whatever questions or material that you had, but that was the big thing that spoke to me in this second chapter of the book. Is and it occurred to me after I had read the bedroom one, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy's talking about money. This guy's talking about basically game, because sex amounts to game at the end of the day, right? And then I was like, wait a minute, this is fucking money muscles game frame, bro. Shout out to John from Modern Life Dating, John MLD. Yeah, and for coming up with that quick witty little catchphrase there. So good on him. But yeah, those were my thoughts, Sam. Tell me your thoughts. You are muted, my brother, so I cannot hear you.
I double
We do it
muted
live.
myself.
There you go.
I wanted to make sure that nobody heard what was going on. So I think you hit the nail on the head there with that correlation. And it's like religion these days seems to very much be like, I wrote it in here. It's like it's almost catering to guys that, I wouldn't even say it's catering necessarily, but it seems like it's just making it okay to be mid, right?
Yeah.
So how to be happy while being mid. Like if you do these things, then like you're gonna be forgive the cough,
Just
guys.
be yourself.
You're gonna be, okay with, you're gonna get through life and everything's gonna be hunky dory because you got all these like, dreams and heaven and all these things are going on, right?
Hmm.
And it's gonna make your life good and you'll be okay with it as it is. But what they don't do a good job of is kind of like you said, of teaching people that no, like if you want to further your goals in this world and affect the things that you believe in this world, you have to play the game in the world.
Yep.
And that involves like learning the rules of the world, the actual rules.
Hmm.
And that kind of stuff's not really taught. And so a lot of stuff in here is basically about like how can you feel better
Yeah.
about not
Books. A-
being like the best. Like it's not about go be the best about everything, but it's like they're not even broaching the topic that all of this self-improvement might be a good idea. Um and like I get where they're getting at, which is like, well, you don't want to become obsessed with like money, or you don't want to become obsessed with sex, right? But they basically use the exception of like, oh, this guy's a sex addict, so you better not
yeah. It's
enjoy
they shoot
women because you'll become a sex addict.
shoot straight to the fucking to the like the far end of the bell curve, and it's just like, come on, man. There's nuance to everything, and it's fun. He even talks in there about like I want to say he uses the analogy of like playing with fire or something like that, and it harkens me back to like Rolo talking about like how fire can be a tool. It can like you can use it to cook your food, or you can use it to like burn down someone's house. It's like fire is not bad, fire is not good, fire just is. And the person who is, lighting the fires or using the fires as a means to whatever end, that's where the good and the bad lies. It's in like it's in the implementation and the interpretation. It's not necessarily just in the fact that a thing exists. Same as like guns, same as books, same as anything. Like anything can be used nefariously, anything can be used positively. You're absolutely right.
We got a comment from Mr. Dace.
Hmm.
Die to self doesn't mean have no goals or aspirations. That is correct, sir. We seem to not do a good job of telling people about the goals and aspirations part, or we tell them that the goals and aspirations are something that you should get to when you die.
Hmm.
And it's like, no, well, how about some goals or aspirations here on earth? And it seems like they're, I have met men that are very religious men, and they've also extremely goal oriented, and they've accomplished a lot of things here on this earth. And
Yeah,
those guys strike me as like an awesome balance. Like they kind of figured it out, and they've got both things going for them, right? But
I
like
think.
nobody ever puts those people in the spotlight and says like, well, look how many awesome things this guy's doing.
Yeah. Have we spoken before about Glenn Lawrence and how he's sort of kind of taking that whole religious and also like goal chasing man like to the not the extreme, but like he's a good example of that. Shout out to Glenn Lawrence. For those of you who don't know who Glenn Lawrence is, go check him out. He's on the Rule Zero podcast. But he does a good job, in my opinion, anyways. He does a good job of both um uh embodying the religious ideal as well as like what's a good man with forward momentum who's going out and like getting shit done, as opposed to like what you were describing with this book, basically catering to mid, for lack of a better term, mid dudes that just kind of go along to get along or whatever.
Yep, I agree entirely. We got another comment from Dace. The modern church has a bad habit of sorting males for idealism and not teaching them how to hone and wield it.
I think I understand what he's saying here, and if I'm incorrect, Dace, please correct me. But I believe that what this means is that uh, sorting males for idealism and not teaching them how to wield and hone it. It's more of like an end state sort of thing as opposed to a teach people the system sort of thing. It's like a hey, this is where you are, and this is it, as opposed to this is what could be, and this is what you should go for, kind of deal. I think I might be interpreting that wrong. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Give me a second. I had a what was your point again? I had to fix my audio. Cut out.
Oh, snap. Okay. My point was, or my I think what Dace was saying, and this is just me, I could be totally wrong here, is that the church basically looks at, well, shoot, man, I kind of forgot. Can you bring the comment up again? The church teaches men or separates men, or church has a bad habit of sorting males for idealism and not teaching them how to hone and wield it. Yeah, that's the problem. That's where my train of thought was going. Is the church doesn't really, it doesn't teach. men a lot of it doesn't give men a lot of like actionable steps. The church approaches teaching from like what I would consider to be a more feminist perspective, or a more like less actionable, more thinking and feeling and singing and writing and dancing and all that stuffs. Man, I totally like lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the the church isn't really like helping. Not, of course, not that it's necessarily like their job in educational purposes, but in terms of like there is stuff that is taught by the church that's like, here's how you make your life better.
Yeah.
But a lot of that, none of that stuff is about, how do you fix your financial situation? How do you build wealth? How do you do these things? And oh,
Yeah.
by the way, if you want to build a family of 10 babies, the wealth thing is kind of got to be taken care of.
Yeah.
But like, let's not talk about how to do that. Because it's like they spend a lot of time catering to the like fix the man, box him
Non-ambitious.
up in a nice little package that makes him
Yeah.
acceptable and good for a woman that's going to also be in the church so that they can accomplish their goals in their particular way.
Yeah. And I can't say I entirely know what like the church's goals are. All I can see is the results, right? So like I don't know the motivations behind their actions. I just know that like what they're doing is not working very well, in my opinion. It's just super ineffective. And it's like I think it's funny, like from like a haha, the house is burning down, like I'm gonna get out some marshmallows kind of funny. It's also tragic a little bit because I think that like religion plays a very important part in society. People need faith, people need purpose, people need drive, you know, and that's all good and fantastic. And I honestly have to say that I am the person that I am today because I was raised with like a foundation of faith and everything. And so like I'm very grateful and very thankful for that. And I recognize that it plays an important role. I just don't think that it's as effective as it used to be. And I think that the world is changing and the church is regressing more so than keeping up with the shifting world, or the shifting like societal, I don't, a zeitgeist or something. Some good little phrase there.
Got another comment from Dace. Egalitarianism and emotional expression are the vocabulary of many churches.
Yeah.
The programs that go out and repair houses, group car repair days, etc., are very admirable and desperately needed.
Yeah. I I'm not terribly fond of the emotional expression thing. I think that and I could very well be misinterpreting that, but like egalitarianism is awesome. I think that that's great. Kids need to, like, young kids and young men and young women need to be going out and doing better things with no expectation of return on their investment. They need to be doing good things for the sake of doing good things. So like I'm all about that. It's just like I don't think that emotional expressionism gets people anywhere. I think that like emotional expressionism is for musicians, children, dogs, and women. You know, like like oh man, I don't know how to put it any other way than that. Like when a dog is angry, he will bite your hand. When a dog is happy, he will wag his tail. Right. I think that I think that emotions are a very important part when it comes to um, interpreting the input that is that is around you as it pertains to your existence, and your body is getting its initial feedback system. That's your emotional system. But I think that there's a very important secondary layer that needs to be oftentimes implemented, where it's like, hey, I will very likely need to ignore my emotional response system, so that way I can interact logically and I can think about the repercussions of what I'm doing. You know, so the church preaching a whole bunch of like, you gotta get into your feelings and you gotta do this, that, and the other thing. It's like that's great hoity-toity magic and good spells and stuff, but it doesn't give people substantive directions to go out and do things. And I think that that's, and I could be wrong here, but I think that that's what's sorely missing and sorely needed in the religious community is men going out and doing things. You know.
I agree, and it kind of ties back to how, excuse me, each one of these chapters
Mhm.
ends with the action plan. And I haven't read farther forward, but so far, 2 for 2. The action plan involves journaling,
Yeah.
praying, discussion, and going and talking to somebody about the bad things that you've done.
And those are fine, but that's therapy. It's not it's not like it's like sit there and cry at the car with the broken engine. It's not go and fix the damn engine. It's like let's talk
Right.
about it. Let's explore our feelings. Let's journal. Like I don't mean to belittle Paul George, the author of this book, but like the whole book is just communicated in an extremely effeminate manner, and it doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to be a man of grit because I'm journaling my feelings and talking about what's going wrong in my life and blah blah. It's like no, I want to go lift weights and fucking race cars and like create a positive like create a positive environment and improve the world by going out there and doing things, like not talking about things and writing about things and singing and all that la di da da bullshit, right? Like I agree with you. I'd be willing to bet I'm going to skip forward a little bit and look at the next action plan, and lo and behold, oh, discussion and journaling. Would you look at that? Wow, I didn't even have to look very far. It was written right there in bold. This dude's big on journaling, which is fine. Everyone's allowed to, pursue their. I'm not knocking journaling. Journaling is important if you have thoughts and you need to. It's a tool that will help you better organize your thoughts, right? But I don't think that it's a solution. I think it's an organization metric, much like you would put your information into an Excel spreadsheet and then present that to the boardroom, right? The Excel spreadsheet is not the final solution. The final solution is like the steps that are like will get you better like quarterly profits or whatever the heck, right? The finding the information is important, and journaling can definitely be an effective way to do that. But like this book is I don't know. I am definitely of the opinion that we should stop reading this book and focus our efforts on different things. But for the sake of like we're already here and we've already both read this second chapter, like we should finish this podcast off at least and then potentially move on to other things for future podcasts. But basically this book is all just a whole bunch of like touchy feely stuff. And I want to also say like he's got a lot of hypnosis in here, which is good and bad. Hypnosis just is like a mechanism of marketing his message, but it's a lot of like affirmative like uh um it's basically like if you were in a death metal crowd and you just go around talking about like, yeah, death metal's great, death metal's awesome, and then like a classical music guy comes up, and then you're like, or and then the person's like, hey, death metal's the best, right? And it's like that's not really that's how you keep people that are already hypnosis is the wrong word. It's not circle jerking. That's the wrong word as well. But he doesn't use good like marketing or like branding messages. This book is just basically a circle jerk for people who are doing what he's already talking about to just keep doing what he's already talking about. And I don't think it really draws in new people or like gets any positive attention past that. That was one of the things that I also wanted to talk about it well as well. You look like you
Yes.
got a thought there.
Yes, I was going to talk about the fact that like this book is it's not it's not written as a convincing book. It's not written to change anyone's mind.
Yeah.
It's not written to like
It's not even that
ma-
informative either.
make a difference. Yeah, it's basically like here's a bunch of people that you're already going to attribute some authority and value to because they were saints because of what you believe in. And hey, they did some cool stuff, and here's how they can help you feel good about what you're doing. So you should feel good because this is, because like you can work on doing the things that they worked on, and like they struggled, and you're struggling, so you can feel good about it. And oh, look, a chapter on falling in love, So yeah, so I was gonna basically just say that like this book is very much not like it's It's written for the crowd of people who are going to be looking for books by these authors.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Dace brings up a good point that journaling provides a grounding effect and allows you to gain separation from your emotions. That is absolutely correct. So uh, I'm going to rescind a little bit of my statement, and I'm going to clarify that it is important to use the tools that are necessary, right? To like as whatever means, right? Journaling works great for a lot of people, but I think that I want to be clear that the important thing is moving past like the journaling part. What the thing in this book, which I guess I should have said as well, is that he doesn't really talk about doing anything past the journaling. He talks about talking to people and then basically just like just putting feelings on a sheet of paper, right? So like it doesn't provide any of the like I think I get what you're saying, that it's a good outlet, right? So it's a good like a pressure release valve or something to that extent. But the dude in this book, it doesn't go anything past that, and I think that that's just an unfortunate uh opportunity lost in that respect. So you're absolutely right though. Journaling does provide a good grounding effect.
I would even say that this particular chapter, it almost goes so far as to combat like the money muscles game frame thing. Cause like
Yeah.
at the end of his action list, you could ask, well, what is there to take action on? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe go improve all of these things. But the tone in the whole chapter is don't go improve all these things because you'll get sucked into it and it'll become a vice and it'll
Yeah.
be a bad thing.
Oh, that's another thing I don't like is he presupposes that people are just fucking slaves to their like to their their desires and their vices and stuff. It's like he treats he treats the readers as like almost victims. It's like, look, you guys shouldn't go out and you shouldn't make money because then you'll become a money focused obsessed person and you're just going to automatically become a victim and it's going to be terrible for everybody. He says you shouldn't go and like get laid and you go try and like learn how women work and do all those things because then you'll become a bad person. Or you shouldn't go and compete with other men because then you'll be a bad person. All of these things that he talks about, the ballroom, the billfold, the ball yard, and the bedroom, whatever the
Ball
fuck
sack.
his ball sack, yeah, his ball sack's like level to his ball sack's ability to make a good sticky analogy. But like he talks about all these things from a victim perspective where there's only one outcome. It's like, bro, I don't recommend smoking weed, but like if people want to go smoke weed, like there's definitely things that you can do by smoking weed that will improve your life a whole lot, right? Like you shouldn't necessarily focus on money, but I'll tell you what, like there's like money is a tool, weed is a tool. All these things that he's just like he's basically looking at it through like a one like a through a set of blinders where like this thing is only bad, cannot be used for good. Because I know people that like they get money and then they become obsessed with money. Or I know people that go and they talk to girls and then they become super lustful addicts and all this crap. And it's just like stop presuming that people are just uh slaves to their um I don't know, like they're gonna
Circumstances.
yeah, they're gonna have a little nibble of this cake and they're gonna turn into like I don't know, a fucking diabetic or something. And it's like, dude, just like you can I suppose it's good preventative medicine, just like it's good preventative medicine to tell children, hey, all snakes are venomous, so don't fuck with any snakes, right? All porcupines, excuse me, all porcupines can shoot their quills. So stay away from porcupines. Like all these what's the word for it? Metaphorical truths that are not literally true, but that they have like a they're told with the point of um trying to encourage positive behavior while like skipping over the fact that like we live in the real world where people can like if I tell my kids like, hey kids, that porcupine can't shoot his quills, don't worry about it, you know then it's just as bad as saying like, hey kids, the porcupine shoots his quills, stay away from them forever. And it's like, maybe my kid learns about porcupines and knows how to go and like be a positive porcupine handler, or like whatever. Like like he adopts the one-sided mindset for this whole thing, and it's just, I don't know. It's awfully silly, and it's a little bit insulting because it treats the reader like there's some child that's incapable of expressing sovereignty over their own decisions and things. So perhaps I'm just in a bad frame of mind whenever I read this book, because it just instantly sets me off to be like, okay, fuck this dude. Like I'm so sick of hearing his silly preaching and stuff. Look at that. You've got me. That's 2 days in a row now that I've had emotional reactions and emotional things on stream. Whiskey Wednesday got me heated. Or no, I wasn't heated yesterday. I was having fun. That's what it was. But something. No, maybe it was the Monday stream. I don't remember. One of the DGen Roundtable streams, bro. I was getting a little bit emotional myself. But yeah, this book is something else. I do not recommend you guys read this book, Holy Grit by Paul George. Not a very
Unless
good.
you are religious and want to feel better about yourself.
Well, so religious. So yes, let me expand on that a little bit. If you're a person who's just going along to get along, and you just want to like do your 40 years of 40 hours a week, and have a nice little white picket house and like maybe a dog, and I don't know, maybe you'll get lucky enough that some girl will tolerate you long enough to marry you and have some kids with you, and then she gets upset with you like 10, 20 years down the road and divorces you, and then you have midlife crisis, and I don't know, you buy a Mustang or something when you turn 50. I don't know. If that's you, then great. This book might be just the thing. If you're just a person who's going to go along to get along. But if you're an ambitious man that wants to like improve himself and like work in the real world with real people, then this book might be a little bit frustrating. So that's my thoughts.
There are probably better books you could be reading. That's
Yeah.
all. It's not that it's a terrible book, but your time
Yeah.
is valuable.
Correct. My time is valuable, and that's why I'm going
And
to
on the
stop reading this.
yes, and on the subject of us being done reading this and things being valuable or not valuable, Will, I've got a question for you.
I've got an answer, and it's yes.
The question is, what is the importance of leading with value, and how would you apply it to like any circumstance?
Yes. The importance of leading with value is man, that is a good question. The importance of leading with value is you want to be around other people, and other people are going to decide if what you're doing is valuable to them, if their time is being invested, or if their time is being wasted with you in their presence, if their attention is being invested by listening to you, or if their attention is being wasted. And so when you approach someone that you are like, let's say that I'm a bodybuilder and I want to hang out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Then the first thing I would not like the first thing I would do when I approach Arnold Schwarzenegger is I think to myself like, oh snap, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's done a whole lot of things that I want to do. This guy has got it figured out. I bet he's got some gold nuggets in his head. I want that. I want to be better. Arnold Schwarzenegger's been better, right? I wouldn't. I'm going to give you. I'm going to give an opposite example, and then I'm going to give a positive example. The first thing that I would not do when I walk up to Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, I don't know, uh, grab his dog and run away, because that's not valuable. That's probably not something. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe Arnold would be very happy to to, to chase down a hooligan and
God.
throttle him for stealing his dog. But presupposing that's something he's not interested in doing, right? I would like it's the same concept of like first impressions are very important, right? So leading with value is essentially just making a good first impression. And if you're making bad first impressions on people, then you're wasting their time, you're wasting their value. So what you need to do is you need to figure out like, hey, what does this person want? Or like, first off, do I want to be around this person? The first thing you have to ask yourself before you even consider the other person is like, hey, does me being around this other guy, does that make me better? Does that make me improve? Does that help me get the goals that I want to accomplish, like accomplished? So once you answer that question, so first thing you do is you determine, are other people valuable, and do I want to be around them? And if they're not, and you don't, then like great, then you don't have to be around them, and you can go and spend your time doing other things. Or if you're a masochist and you want to make yourself suffer, then you could just be like, hey, I don't like these people, I'm going to be around them because life is terrible, and I need to suffer, and I need to be inefficient, and blah, 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 blah. So the first thing you need to do is determine, hey, do the people that I want to be around, are they valuable to me? And then, presupposing that they are, then you have to find out, okay, cool. How do I make them want to be around me? What do I have to do from their perspective in order to gain value from their from looking at it from their point of view? And then you just figure it out and you just do it. So your question was, um,
What is
is
the importance of leading with
what is the
value?
importance of starting with value? The importance is building positive relationships with people who have something that you want. So, like, if you want to learn something, if you want to grow, if you want to ascend, if you want to level up, and you're around other people that can help you do that, then you're helping yourself accomplish your goal by approaching them with a generation, like generating value from their perspective. It was a bit long-winded.
Sure. So basically, if you are around people that you want to be around and can learn something from,
Hmm.
then two, if you want to extract real value out of them, then you basically want to prove that you are worth their time, that
Yep,
they have like they can gain something out of being around you,
correct.
and you prove that by providing the value up
From
front
their perspective, yes.
from their
Not from
perspective.
your own perspective. Doesn't matter if I like bananas and you like strawberries and you hate bananas and I walk up to you and I'm like, "Hey, I've got all these valuable bananas. Here you go." And you're like, I hate bananas. I only like strawberries." It's like that's stupid. That's ineffective. It's you want to give people what they want. You don't want to give other people what you want. Think about this also, like when it comes to gift giving during Christmas time. It's like doesn't matter what you want when you're giving someone else a gift. When you're investing in that relationship with the other person, you have to think about it from their perspective, not your own. So yeah, absolutely. And this is something. So I wrote I've got the rough draft of my book completed right now, and it's basically about the 6 pillars of value that exist in the world, as far as I can see, anyways. The 6 pillars of value that exist in the world. And when I say value, what I mean is like valuable, like almost currencies that we would exchange one thing for another, right? So if I go to Taco Bell instead of cooking dinner myself, then I'm trading my money and the shitty byproduct of eating a terrible healthy, like an unhealthy meal. I'm trading my health and my money
I don't
for the
understand.
convenience of time
What do you,
and effort.
what's the byproduct? I don't understand.
The byproduct?
Yeah, of eating an unhealthy meal. What do you mean?
Oh, if I eat
What,
an unhealthy meal, then my body becomes unhealthy and then my health suffers. So
oh, I thought you were
I'm
talking about
trading.
something very specific. Never mind.
Oh, yes, I am, but I'm trying to keep this, a little bit, I don't know, adult, but juvenile, right? So everybody knows what happens when you eat at Taco Bell. We can live with the implications without having to say it out loud, I think. But but yeah, when you go to Taco Bell, you trade terrible health and a bit more money than you would normally spend for time and convenience, or like time and like your energy that you would invest in cooking the food yourself, right? So you're trading one thing for another thing, right? So these are just the things that you have to think about as you go through life. Like what are the six value systems are the 6 pillars are time, which is the most important. Time, attention slash energy. I haven't quite figured out which one of the two words that I'm going to go for. So I guess energy. We'll go with energy for now. So time, energy, health, money, brand, and your like surrounding resources. So like your environment or like the things that are around you, the material world that exists within your reach. So I haven't quite figured out a good word, whether it like environment or surroundings or resources. I don't know. I have to kind of hone that one. But those are like the six basic value things that like you trade one for another quite often. And sometimes you trade two for one. Sometimes you trade all of them for one. So like the other day I was playing poker with the boys over at a friend's house, and I was relatively certain that I was not going to win this game of poker. And so what I did, like right in the beginning, is I invested in my brand by doing something that I thought was very entertaining. And I would like the first hand was dealt. Everyone had their cards down on the table. People started anteing up and buying in and stuff. I left my cards sitting on the table and I went all in on the very first hand of poker. And what that did is it cracked a whole bunch of smiles around the table. And the dealer dude looked at me and he's like, "Bro, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going all in." on this hand blind for no reason because I'm fucking baller ass G and that's just the way that I roll, whatever, right? So I developed a character and then I played it, right? And that made it made it very entertaining for the rest of the table, right? And of course I lost on my first. So actually, so so let me rewind a little bit. So I went all in, and then everyone folded except for one other gentleman who was his first time ever playing poker, and he was like, what is this? Why did you go all in?" And I was like, "Cause I'm a fucking G, bro. Why are you gonna go all in?" And he was like, "You know what? I will." And so he did. He went all in as well. And the two of us were the only ones left at the table. Everyone else of like the I think it was eight of us at the table. Everyone else folded because they didn't want to go all in against me. And so just me and one other dude who had like big brass balls were just going all in on this first hand of the night. And he won. I had like a king and a two. He had a king and a six, and so he beat me with a six. But it was crazy fun, dude. Like they laid out the river and just like and so like I realized at the beginning of the poker game like I'm probably not going to win, so like I'm not going to make money, right? I have a limited attention span. I don't necessarily want to sit here and play poker just to lose after like invest like 2 or 3 hours into this game and just lose. But what I could do is I could instead of like trying to game for money or like game for whatever is I can build this story right in the very beginning of this poker game, and I could just go all in for no fucking reason, just because it's funny, and build up the brand that is like how all these other gentlemen like perceive me in this game. And so I went out as fucking just like a crazy baller dude or whatever, like first hand of the night, like fucking brush it off like nothing, and it was super fun, man. And I got word later because I left the venue. Some things came up that I had to go take care of. But I sat around and hung out with the dudes and I helped the dealer. I was like shuffling cards for him and stuff. But like, bro, after that happened, I've never seen so many people go all in so many times in a game of poker. And then even after I left, like the dealer guy, he was hitting me up and he was like, "Yo, bro, like people kept going all in all night." So like it started like a trend. It created like a brand and like it basically it turned into a story, right? So I traded all of these things. I traded my time, I traded my attention, I traded my, whatever. I traded it all for brand, for a story. And it worked out very well and it was a great night. It was excellent and yeah, it was super cool and super fun. But yeah, so oftentimes you'll find yourself trading multiples of these things all for just like one outcome. But that one outcome could like greatly outweigh the everything that you're trading in for it, you know. So
Do you think it's possible for people to like be aiming at making these trades, but fail to do so and actually end up trading for nothing? Or do you think there's always some kind of gain?
yeah, absolutely. People can trade for nothing all the time. You know,
Could you give an
you
example?
only what's that?
Could you give an example of somebody trading for nothing?
Maybe not nothing, but net zero, right? So you can still get something out of it, but it might not be the thing that you want. That's a better way
Mm,
for me to phrase it. Actually, is like so. Like if I chop down all the trees in the forest that I live in, so that way I could have like a nice big old pile of firewood, so that way I could have like the energy and the health of being heated throughout the winter or whatever. And then spring comes and there's like no food because there's no animals because all the trees are dead and it's now a barren wasteland. Then I've turned this beautiful thing into a whole bunch of nothingness and I end up dying from it. So like that's something I just come up with off the cuff. But like we can often trade in things for other things and it turns out totally opposite of the way we anticipate it, or it could give us like some form of yielded result or something of the like. And so your ability to like ensure the outcome of your trade is based on like your ability to leverage what's going on as well as the knowledge that you have beforehand on like what are going to be the outcomes of me trading this thing for that thing. Like if I go to the gym and I'm working out, like I'm trading my time and I'm trading my energy for better health, right? But if I go to the gym and I'm like training real shitty and I injure myself, then I've now got less health than I had like if I was to do it properly. So like there's all sorts of trades that we can make and the ledger's got a
y-
balance.
the ledger's got a balance. So you could argue that if you injure yourself, then you have traded for a loss in health, but a surplus of knowledge now on what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like knowledge. I had thought very carefully about putting knowledge in there, and I ultimately decided against it because you can't trade knowledge.
Yeah.
You can only grow in knowledge, right? I mean, you can't get rid of it, or you can't let it go. But I thought a lot about
Right.
putting knowledge
Right.
into there because I was like, man, like this is something that's very important. You can always gain in knowledge, but it's very
Yeah, you
hard to
can't
lose it.
spend knowledge.
Yeah, you can't really spend it. You can use it, but you can't really like it doesn't go away. That's why it's one of the best investments actually for the folks at home who are listening to this. All one of you in the live stream, which I think is me because I have a separate tab open watching it.
For all
But
you guys watching the replay,
for all you guys watching the replay, right? It's like what was I saying? Da, 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 fuck. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Hit that replay or
we were
whatever.
talking about like knowledge and how you
Oh
can't
yeah,
spend it. It's best
yes,
investment.
knowledge is it's one of the most important things that you can invest in. Is because like you can't lose it, right? You can lose your health, you can lose your money. You're always losing time, whether you're spending time or not. You're losing it, right? Like you've got the timer and it's ticking, so you can choose to use those seconds well, or you can waste them away. Doesn't matter. It's going, it's gone, and there it is. You can't get it back, right? But knowledge, like you can't get rid of knowledge. You can't lose knowledge. You can forget things, and you can have a poor learning system, but you can't like it can't be taken away from you. People can take your health away from you. People can take your money away. People can take your time. People can take your energy. They can take your attention. They can take your surroundings. They can almost take your brand, right? But they can't take your knowledge. So that would have been a good like I might put in a paragraph in the end about that as some sort of like action step, like, hey reader, like you should learn more things because no one can take that away from you. That would be a good call to action, maybe at the end of the book. I think I might add that later. But yeah, good question. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, man, there was something you said in there that was, um, yeah. So you can always build on your knowledge, and like that is, what's the saying that like, uh, oh yeah, no, there's a few people, very high up people that I respect in all of the books that I've read and everything that basically will say, knowledge is not the problem. Actually, I
Mm.
know who I'm speaking. I'm talking about Richard Hart. He wrote put it in Sci-Vive. He said,
Yeah.
"Knowledge is not the issue; it's the desire and the motivation that's the issue with people. the
Mm.
The world has plenty of knowledge, has plenty of information. You need to stop like absorbing all this extra information, and only absorb what you need to accomplish the immediate goal at hand."
Yep. And
So
then
I kind of
start
wanted to,
doing.
yes, and do the doing.
Hmm.
And that'll start by going to hex.com. That's hex.com, and learning about the world's first and best blockchain certificate of deposit.
Are you reading off the card? You should show the card for the audience.
It's right here. I don't
Hell
know if
yeah.
it'll come across well, but
These are courtesy of
oh
Davin.
no.
Oh no. These are courtesy of Davin, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's Davin, Eco Builder. He's a great dude. Um, if it's not him, I apologize. Whoever's in the postcard stuff, but like these things are fantastic. If you guys are Hexkins and you want to um, proselytize the message out to other people, hit up Davin on Telegram. Um, yeah, cool guy, cool cat. I don't have his handle or anything handy at the moment, so you're just gonna have to do some due diligence. Go to the Hex chat room. I think he's one of the admins. The Hex.com Telegram chat. It's got like 200,000 people in it. But yeah,
Heck
yep,
yeah.
yep.
So also I want to take it back a little bit to the book here. So Holy Grit, right? We're going to tie things up here a little bit.
All right.
If if you want to be part of a community of men
Mm-hmm.
who get shit done
Yep.
and build things, then you ought to check out Bungalows for Bachelors, because I've started a community of men that do exactly that. You can join our community for free because I want you to learn, and you ought to join. So check out the link in the maybe, yeah, it's in the description. It's in the description of this YouTube live video, and you can look at it there and go hop on. There's a little bit of an intro video, And if you want to see more of what it is about, what I do, then there's just a bunch of stuff on the YouTube channel, Bungalows for Bachelors, as well. But yeah, if you want to learn about construction and see how it can better your life, better your money, gain some freedom, and help people out whom you love.
My comment has failed to post to Will and Sam
Oh my god, I
Stevenson.
should not have made the joke. There's
That's
probably
okay.
a link, and you're not a mod.
Oh, am I not a mod? Oh, I'm not a mod.
Will, where
Yo,
can
you
people
should make
find
me a
you?
mod. You should
I'll
make
do
me a
that while
mod
you're
right
talking
now.
about yourself.
You guys can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson. That's where everything exists that has to do with me. I will go. Oh, I can't drop the link in the chat, but you guys can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson. That's got how like the best methods to contact me. It's got all of my socials on there: my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Telegram. It's got this podcast. Oh, excuse me. It's got the DGen Roundtable stuff in there. It's got my Rule Zero. It's got my Hex Meetup Telegram, all that stuff. But the best way to get in touch with me is by using Telegram. So that would be the way to go for reaching out and saying hello. Other than that, that's all that I got. The DGen Roundtable is going to be doing book club tomorrow, where you will see both Sam and myself. Zenith will be hosting that one, and we're going to be covering the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a very good book, and it covers the secret to wealth and ascension in life. So no giveaways, no spoilers or nothing. Come and join us tomorrow on the DGen Roundtable on YouTube. And yeah, it'll be super awesome. Sam, where can the folks find you other than the school thing? Or is that basically the one you want to plug?
That's pretty much it. I mean, that's the hub of a lot of stuff. I mean, I've got an Instagram at samuel.d.stevenson if you want to follow me personally. And got the Brothers Two of Them podcast here where we talk about difficult topics and how to help make the men in the world and the men in the world and the worldly men a better men.
Yeah. Very well said. Damn, that was eloquent.
That was sure well said.
That was real good. Like very good. Good. Sure.
On that
I'm
note,
trying to remember all the words that sure replaces, but I can't.
all of them. So we're going to end this stream now because we're done.
Yes.
So we'll see y'all on the next one. Outie.